a couple of people that join us. So my name is Samson Gilbert. I'm Research Network Producer with Common Ground Research Networks. As I said before, I'm the person on the other side of the emails to you. If you have any questions throughout the next couple of weeks, just reach out to myself or my colleague Kayla. I'm not sure what box she's in, but I'll point around and hope that she's next to me on your screen. Kayla, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, I'm Kayla Ryan. I am an assistant conference producer at Common Ground. So I've also been on the emails, so you've probably seen my name, and it's nice to put names to faces for everyone.
Great, thanks, Kayla. And then I'm just gonna call on you in the order of the boxes that I can see here. And then perhaps maybe you just might like to introduce yourself, say a little bit about who you are and your work and your interest in the conference. So, and also forgive me in advance if I mispronounce your name, and please do correct me so that I know how to pronounce it. I want to know how to say everyone's names correctly. Thiago, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning and good afternoon. I don't know where everyone is right now. I'm in Brazil right now, so it's 12 o'clock here. Yes, the pronunciation is perfect. It's Thiago, and I'm a PhD in history, Latin American history, but technically I'm a Brazilianist. So I studied the history of Brazil and the history of the body specifically. So sports is an important aspect of my interest, of my study, and basically what I'm going to bring to the conference is a debate on the aspects of national identity and the idea of a Brazilian way of behaving. So basically how sports relate to the rest of the society in this understanding of what means to be Brazilian and why some people think there are some natural aspects of this kind of behavior.
Great. Thanks, Thiago. Nice to meet you. The next, I'm just going to go in the order that you've sort of randomly appeared in the boxes on my screen. So I think the next person we have is Lana. Lana?
Yes, Tierra. Good morning. So my name is Lana. I am originally from New Zealand, but I am currently based at Charles Sturt University in New South Wales in Australia. It's currently 1 a.m. here.
Oh, you're up early.
So my research areas really focus on high performance female sports teams, developing team culture, leadership and coaching approaches. And my presentation at the conference is going to be based on the research that I conducted for my PhD, where I investigated the development of the team culture and leadership practices within the Silver Ferns, which is New Zealand's national netball team, and how that evolved over a 60-year period, and how they managed to create this caring culture amongst a high-performance female sports team.
Great. Sorry, I couldn't tell whether I was on mute there. Nice to meet you. Thanks for getting up so early. Late.
Oh, no
I don't
problem.
know if it's early. 1 a.m. is kind of like, is it morning? Is it evening? You don't know. But thank you. Next person we have is Tierra. Tierra, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, thanks, Tasman. It is Tierra, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. No, thanks for correcting me.
My mom clearly didn't really understand how to pronounce things, so it's spelled as Tierra. So it's not your fault. So I'm Tierra Cash. I'm originally from the United States in the South, Memphis, Tennessee, and now am completing or doing my PhD in Canada at Simon Fraser University. My research focuses broadly on life transitions, and those are just challenging life transitions. It could be transitions from university to, from high school to university. But my first master's focused mostly on student athlete transitions. So the transition from being a student athlete and then into post play. Did some qualitative work there, and now I'm working more in a mixed methods fashion, figuring out if pro-sociality actually has some sort of is a strategy to help to mitigate well-being during life transitions, and specifically in student athletes. So I'm going to be presenting some research on what we found both through quantitative methods and qualitative methods, and what we plan to do next, in hopes that you all might want to join. Secrets, but you know. So I'm excited to see you all soon. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Zachary, you're the next person in my list.
All right. Thank you, Samson. Hello, everyone. I will be presenting in person in a few weeks, so I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. My research is in high performance sport in Canada, so I'm working on my PhD in history at York University in Toronto, and looking at how the federal Canadian government really tried to create national identity from the top down using the Winter Olympics. That's part of my research. What I'll be presenting on, though, is another side project where the government funded a fitness promotion organization, Participation, and that was for mass participation of Canadians, young and old, of every ability, and to just get active. And so I'll be talking about how those strategies were sent out and how they were received by the public. And as well, I guess maybe for the audience in Denmark, there's a very strong comparison between Canada's poor fitness levels and the very strong fitness levels in Scandinavian countries. So I'd like to play on that a little bit for the audience when I'm out there.
Fantastic. Well, nice to meet you. Kosti, you're our next one in line here.
Thank you, Tamsin, and hello to all from Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I'm talking to you today. I'm a student, a graduate student again, after many years at the Harvard Medical School, doing something slightly different than I've done as a kinesiologist by training and physical educator in the past. I will refer to that in a minute, but the most recent studies are in bioethics through the lens of both, the medical world as well as the world of public health and public health professionals. And although I have been doing, both my research and teaching, as well as many of my engagement with, the world of sport in society as a whole, from the umbrella, of our multiple disciplines, have been sort of related to bioethics, especially through the prism of the doping, and certainly the anti-doping part of doping within the Olympics. I never had a grounding in that field, which always was near and dear to my heart. So I started last year, and I'm going into my second year in the specific degree program, so that I can get a better understanding of the field of bioethics in general, and some of the main principles that bioethicists, especially through the 70s, have started to discuss, are very, closely aligned with the specific special theme of this year's conference. I haven't been involved with the other 12 international conferences of the past, but I was always monitoring that and saying, one day maybe I will be there. So respect for autonomy is one of the main principles of bioethics as a whole. And that doesn't mean just medical or clinical ethics. So it's always a broader look into all of ethics that have to do with both the physical sciences and biomedical sciences, and also the humanities. And then the other specific principles are non-maleficence, so do no harm, as the medical doctors pledge. Beneficence, always try to do the best, and in the field of the Olympics, you want to try to encourage students who will become athletes, or the athletes who might also be students, at least in my sphere of influence, to play fair, but also reach their maximum potential or their self-actualization through being grounded in the values. And then finally, of course, it is justice broadly defined. So social justice is a big part of what we discuss in bioethics. And of course, it has to do so much with my previous research and engagement that has to do with, you know, what you teach within physical education and health education in the school system. And then one of the main national values, at least as far as Shape America is concerned, has always been personal and social responsibility. Again, looking into the K through 12, but also extending through what we teach at the college level. So I will be presenting something that I have been working on since the beginning of the pandemic, which also influenced me a little bit, drawing from the work of Julian Savulescu on specifically the Paralympics and ethical challenges that have to do with performance within the Paralympics. Many cases where, for instance, athletes who were supposed to amputate above knee, let's say, would selectively try to do a couple of inches higher so that they would fit better with either the prosthesis or, you know, a different category like a T51 or whatnot, which is very fascinating, but also concerning. I've been an Olympic level cyclist for training for many years with the Greek national team. I'm both a Greek and a US citizen. Spent almost half my life, you know, in this area of Massachusetts, but also in Greece, where my grandfather was from. And trained for the Sydney Games and then the Athens Olympic Games. I was an alternate in mountain biking. So I have lived through these experiences. I've gone through, you know, both the preparation for becoming a physical educator, but also, you know, acting as a coach later on, working for multiple Olympic organizing committees. And I will put a pause here because I'm passionate about everything that has to do with the conference in particular. I read some of the bios from, you know, the other awardees, and those are really amazing and fascinating. I'm sorry I will not be able to be there in person, but I will be there in spirit. We'll be traveling in Greece and Italy for the summer. And so I look forward to attending as much as I can, hopefully, you know, trying to get at least something from each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kosti. Rachel, you're my next rectangle here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Right on. Well, hey, y'all. My name is Rachel. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm really excited to be in this communal space with y'all. My work kind of evolved from a lot of different places. You know, I have a PhD in education policy and organizations, and my master's in higher education administration. And so I've worked a lot kind of within that political economy of higher ed spaces, and especially public higher education, coming to UC Berkeley, where there was a multi-decade anti-affirmative action case, or anti-affirmative action precedent rather. I was really interested in kind of what the implications of not just access, opportunity, student success, and campus climate looked like for Black students on Cal's campus. And coming there, found that, you know, the year prior to Prop 209 passing, 1 in 10 Black men on Cal's campus were also student athletes. And in the year immediately following, with very similar rates therein, that number changed to 1 in 3. And so that told us, you know, two primary things. One, that there's been a stark erasure of Black representation on Cal's campus, but also that the relationship between Black men on campus and the institution is now fundamentally bound by athletic participation and labor. And so really wanting to better understand kind of what those nuances were and what the impact on those student athletes was in how they approached their study at that time, the #1 public institution in the world. And so I ended up down some very interesting rabbit holes around, you know, bodily regulation and control, surveillance, hypervisibility, as kind of these extensions of stereotype threat, and ended up engaging in a participatory action research-based project for my dissertation, which I'll be kind of speaking on a little bit more during the conference. But the work is kind of taking me into some very interesting kind of conceptual spaces, really exploring that intersection of race, gender, sexuality, surveillance studies, and ultimately the political economy of the body, thinking around bodily consumability, the colonial matrix of power, and kind of how and why certain bodies are leveraged, both through sport and society, but also kind of within our larger global political economy. So like Kosti, I could talk about this at length and look forward to hopefully jumping down some of those rabbit holes with y'all during the conference, both blended and in person. But yeah, that's the work in a nutshell.
Great, thanks, Rachel. Mauricio, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, I am Mauricio. I am from Colombia. I am in Colombia right now. I am planning to visit Denmark a week ago, attending to the Play the Game conference. I don't know if you are aware of that conference, and the topic of interest is corruption in sport. Basically, how the industry of integrity are shaping the narratives of the civil society organizations. So basically, I am one of those activists trying to understand how to operate corruption in the sport and the multiple ways of corruption is developed into sports organizations. So it's my pleasure to be here with you, and I hope to be with you in Harus in Denmark soon.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Rita, you're there.
Hello, you hear
Hi,
me?
Rita. Yes, I can. Do you want to
Hi.
introduce yourself?
Yes, please. Good afternoon. My name is Rita. I'm a Portuguese woman, of course. I'm currently studying in Germany in the Master of Olympic Studies, developing my thesis on the challenge of being a female athlete and thrower. So as I throw javelin for 9 years, and now I found out that female athletes, things that happen to me are part of sexualization present in sports. So I explore that in my thesis, and I would like to continue work on that. And I do hope that my data and insights are worth it. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. Sean, are you there? Are you able to unmute yourself at
Yes.
all? Okay.
Thanks,
Hi, Sean.
Samson.
Do you want to
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
Of course. So hi, everyone. I'm Sean Pradhan. I'm currently an assistant professor of sports management and business analytics at Menlo College. That's located in the San Francisco Bay Area, where I'm currently residing right now. I also head up my research lab, the Center for Sports Management. In my research lab, we study a variety of things related to sport management. We look at sports marketing, sponsorship programs, and how those are really perceived by sports fans. More recently, though, I've been delving a little bit more into sports analytics and how that affects performance by team. So for instance, at the conference, I'll be sharing some research on how travel can impact college football teams. So specifically, a colleague and I are looking at how teams traveling to the University of Hawaii, which is the only school in the NCAA's Division I that's actually located in the Hawaiian Aleutian time zone, which is 3 hours behind the Pacific Standard Time, how visiting teams perform there, since typically those games would be getting, especially the night games, would be getting into the wee hours of the night. You think about playing at 9 p.m. Hawaii time, that's 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it starts to become even more difficult to perform, particularly late in the game. So we'll be looking at some research there related to, how teams score points, how they allow points, and just really the overall actual game outcomes. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Well, it's lovely to, meet you all and put moving faces to email addresses that we've been corresponding with. So what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to run through CG Scholar and give you a little brief overview of how to engage in the conference as an emerging scholar. And then what I'll do at the end, I will just open it up if anyone has any questions. If I'm speaking too quickly, sometimes I do that. Please cut me off and say, Tamsin, you know, you're rambling. Let me know, but I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Can you see that? Yep. Okay. Thanks for the thumbs up. So this is CG Scholar. We're going to go to the event microsite from here. So you can do it by clicking just on this button here. If you're not logged in the top right, you can go ahead and log in up here. There's a number of different ways to get there. There's a button here that's on the web page as well. But nearly every link that you'll receive, you know, as a reminder email or anything like that will also have a link to this to the event microsite. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that here. So this is the about page. You've probably all seen this before. You know, it tells you a little bit about the conference, you know, the special focus, things like that. A lot of you have proposals submitted. So instead of saying submit a proposal here, it'll say my proposal. At the bottom of that page is where you'll upload your digital media for the conference if you haven't already. So all those presenters that are online only certainly should upload that. They should definitely upload their digital media. It's required, but we also encourage the in-person blended delegates to upload their digital media because this means that the online only delegates can also engage with your work, see your work, and digital media can take a number of different forms. It can be a video of your presentation of you know, presenting. It could be a voiceover on a PowerPoint. It could be your PowerPoint slides, a PDF, an audio file of some sort, just anything that you think best conveys your work. And that's where you upload it at the bottom of this page. We do have a process where we review all the digital media. So you will also get an email when it's been accepted. Or you'll get an email if if it's not the right file type or something like that, we'll let you know. So you might still get an automated email that says you were waiting for your digital media. It's just because we haven't, we have to review it. Register, you'll all have this button. It'll say Emerging Scholar Registration. You can download, your information there. Actually, I'm going to skip ahead to special events first. Just because presentations and schedule here kind of go hand in hand. So I want to make sure that I do them together. This is where you can sign up for the special events for the conference. If you're attending in-person blended, we do have a conference dinner option. If you're attending online only, this is to sign up for the 2 online only sessions. The online engagement session is very much what I'm doing now, but for everyone who's attending online only. So feel free to come along if you still have any lingering questions, but it's very much, me running through the microsite and how to engage. The Think and Drink is actually a really lovely session. We do kind of like what we did here. We introduce ourselves, but then we like to have sort of a welcome and an informal conversation about the special focus. And usually the local host is there and the research network chair. So it's kind of a nice informal session. We call it a Think and Drink. Sometimes people are in Australia and it's a coffee. Sometimes people are in Europe, it's a wine or, something like that. So we have a little cheers and welcome everyone to the conference. So sign up for those events if you're interested and want to come along. We do also send reminder emails for those as well. So the presentations tab. Sorry, it's always my internet slow and I've got people on Zoom. I'm going to ignore this following tab for a second. Just because I'll come back to that later. Featured is all your presentations. The Emerging Scholar presentations are featured. So you'll be able to see everyone who's an Emerging Scholar, their presentation will be listed here. By theme, as you probably know, we have a number of different themes for the conference. Say you're particularly interested in a special focus for this year, you can scroll down and find that special focus. Am I going to be able to find it here? And this is a list of all the presentations that are linked to that theme. So I might be very interested in Heidi's poster presentation here, in which case I can go ahead and click on the title of her presentation, read the abstract there, I can read a bit more about Heidi by clicking on her name here and taking me to her profile. And then I can also add her as a peer if I wanted to. And that will appear in my list of peers on my profile page right here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. If I want to follow this presentation, if it's linked to my work in some way, or I just find it interesting, I can go ahead and press follow. It'll turn green there. And then I'll show you in a minute, it'll appear on my list of following presentations there. When the discussion boards open, I'll be able to view the digital media here at the bottom of this page, so I can see what Heidi has uploaded. If Heidi has not uploaded digital media, there'll be a button and I can go ahead and say request digital media. And when that is then, if Heidi then uploads that digital media, you'll receive an email to let you know that it's there with a link back to the page. I'm going to go ahead and go back here, and I'm going to scroll back to the top. By type, we have a number of different presentation types. Paper presentation in a theme session, we have workshops, we have poster sessions. I might be looking for a certain poster session, so I'll go ahead and scroll down here and I can see, oh, you know, I found the poster session that I wanted right here in. So this is by presentation type. And alphabetical is exactly what it sounds like, it's alphabetical. So now that I've followed, oh, I might have to reload the page here to see Heidi's presentation that I followed. So there I can see it there. So you might want to go ahead and follow your own presentation so that you can get to the presentation page easily. They are here listed on the featured page if you want to access them easily. Or followed is really sort of like your curated presentations for the conference that you might be interested in that you can get to easily through that tab. I'll go ahead and go over the schedule here. So I'll just run through the schedule here and sort of explain your role as we go through. The first day, the day before the conference, if you're attending in-person blended, please sign up for the pre-conference panel. It's not at the same venue as the conference itself. It's at the Our House Institute of Advanced Studies. So you can go ahead and click on that there. You do need to sign up using this link here. So please go ahead and do that. Some interesting speakers there, and we will all be there. Also on that same day, like I mentioned, is the online engagement session, which is a bit similar to this session, as well as the online welcome reception, which is sort of the nice, fun, informal one where we get to meet each other and have a chat. Then we'll go to day one of the conference. We start off in the morning with registration and the conference opening, and then you'll see you're assigned as moderators here. Now for the in-person blended moderators, that means being in the rooms. We'll go through this when I see you in person. I'm not going to just throw you in a room, but it's sort of making sure everything's running on time, making sure the speakers are there, that they're able to set up. But the crucial, sort of smaller things like that, but the crucial part of this is I'll use Tierra as an example here. So the session starts at 10:30. So we'll start off with Craig, and Craig will speak from 10:30 to 10:50. Then we'll have Catherine, and Catherine will speak for 20 minutes as well from 10:50 to 11:10. And then we'll have Matthias following that until 11:30. And then we have some time for question and answer. And really, no matter whether you're a blended in-person emerging scholar or an online-only emerging scholar, you're really there as sort of this is sort of like there to fuel discussion and ask questions. You might see links between Catherine and Matthias's presentations. You might see contradictions between their presentations, but really you're there to sort of kick off the question and answer time, help people ask questions and fuel discussion. And that's for whether you're Tierra there in the room, or if you're an online only emerging scholar. So for example, let's use Kosti here. Kosti, you will go into the discussion board here after viewing the digital media. So these are all asynchronous presentations. You'll view the digital media for the presentation that you've been assigned to. And then you'll go to the discussion board and you'll be able to ask questions in the discussion board. Now, if someone responds to you, you'll receive an email. letting them know that you've responded. But perhaps I'll use this other example here of tackling problems. So this is a panel themed paper presentation with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 presenters in it. So then if you're assigned to this one, you're responsible for watching the digital media of those presentations. And the way you can do that is by clicking on the title here. And you can see, for example, Kerry, we know already has had her digital media uploaded. If there's no little bar there, you'll be able to click on that title and request the digital media, like I mentioned before. And then there is one discussion board for the panel, not per presentation. So this discussion board is for the 5 presenters in this panel. And so then you can, like I said before, using the example of Tierra's one that she was the moderator for in person, you can make connections between the presentations that you've watched the digital media for. One also thing to mention is that all these names are links, so they will take you to the presenter's page. So in order to edit your profile page, you can just click on the community tab here and then go to profile. Another way to do it is the top right and go down to account settings here where you can edit things there. It's nice to have, especially all your updated bio and information, all your information correct and updated, because that's what will appear next to your name in the event schedule. So like, for example, I'll go back, sorry. We can see Sean's got his information updated here, so it appears correctly next to his name there. So Rodolfo, we can see, needs to update his profile information because we don't have it there. So there's an example of that. I'll go back to day 1 of the conference. So just so you know, these online only presentations, the digital media for those will be available when the discussion boards open on the 29th of June. So you can go ahead from the 29th of June and start watching that digital media when you have time throughout the conference days for the online only emerging scholars. For the in-person emerging scholars, you'll be in the rooms there. We do have, information and pieces of paper on how to help you, guide you through the process. We have little signs that say 5 minutes to remind people to stop talking in 5 minutes, but we'll be there on site to help with anything that you need there. There is a welcome reception on the first evening, and that's open to everyone who's attending the conference in person. And then we have the sessions on the next day. I might have gone a little too quickly, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing and open it up for any questions, and go ahead. You can wave me down or just unmute yourself if you have anything to say. Anyone? I hope that made sense. Oh, go ahead, Kosti.
So one question is for those of us who will not be there in person.
Yes.
Is there going to be any opportunity or any point in time where we could be live attending something with others and commenting on something with others, not necessarily for what we're moderating, but for anything else?
So this is the opening session, which is live online only. And that's where you can comment and discuss with others just generally about the conference. The plenary panels will all be, so what will happen is in this link here, I don't even know if I'll just click, the Zoom link's not there, but what will happen is you'll click on the title and the Zoom link will be there so that you can attend those plenary panels. We do also record them and upload them later on, just in case you're in the wrong time zone and you're not able to view those. We also do have a closing talking circle. So you'll see on the first day for the in-person blended delegates. So what we do is we have this sort of welcome reception where everyone introduces each other. But then on the last day, we also have a closing talking circle for the online only delegates, which kind of is also a nice session because it's on the last day. And what you can do is you can view all the digital media and attend the conference online and then sort of have sort of a bookend conversation at the end of the conference. You know, what have I seen so far? What's been interesting? What have I learned? Or this type of thing. So that's on the 1st of July, that session as well. But the plenary sessions will also be live for you to attend as well. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, thank you.
Zachary, go ahead.
Thanks. I was just looking at the schedule earlier this morning, and I think there might still be a conflict with my presentation.
You were, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
made a note of it, but sometimes, you know what, sometimes it doesn't save. So
Okay.
let me just make a note of it again to double check. Move Zachary because he's moderating his own session.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be a little difficult.
I know, and the panel looks really good. It's just I can't be in two places.
No, you can't really moderate and say, oh, here's Zachary and here it comes.
Yeah.
You know, so I had made a note to fix that, and I think I did, but sometimes these things don't save, and I'll go in and fix it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. Does anyone else have any other questions? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you do. All right, everyone. Well, if you do have a question and I leave you today and for some reason, you leave from 5 minutes later, think of something that you might have wanted to ask, feel free to email myself or Kayla and we'll try and answer as soon as possible. Oh, did you have something, Mauricio? Do you want to unmute?
Yes. I'm looking in the schedule. I am in the first day, but in June 30. So I will be in that date in the other conference.
Oh, okay.
I have to be
what I'm gonna
to the second day.
You're presenting on the first day, is that what you just said? Yeah.
No, what I saw is that I am
you're moderating
in the first day. Yeah. And I will be that day in the other conference. So you have to move for the second day.
Okay, Mauricio, can you please just send me an email, and when I fix Zachary, I'll fix you at the same time so that I can make that change, because it's hard to moderate a session when you're not there.
Okay.
Just send me an email.
If that helps. Oh, sorry. If that helps, I'm happy to help with anything in addition, not to change my own, but to make it even harder. But I'm happy to help with anything else. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Kosti. I appreciate it. And so for the in-person blended emerging scholars, I will see you in Denmark in just in not that long, actually. It's going to come up quickly, I think. What I'm planning is we have the pre-conference plenary panel the evening before, but maybe just an hour or two before that, I'd like to meet you all so that we can just run through the moderating role in person. So I'm not throwing you in there with you feeling, uncomfortable or nervous or anything like that. I'll give you all the pieces of paper you need and your name badges and everything. I'll send you the details of that probably, this week, because it's next week or the week after. And we'll find a nice place that's central for everyone to meet so that we can do that. And maybe then even we could go to the pre-conference panel together as a group or something. That might be a fun thing to do. So reach out to me with any questions. I'm online and lovely to meet you all. Bye, everyone. Have a pleasant. Well, Lana, you need to go back to bed.
Home, maybe drawing.
Yeah.
And then a program
Thank you.
going to an art.
Bye.
Bye.